Hello, my name's Justin Urquhart Stewart and welcome to Regionally. And this is going to be a short talk with, I think, one of the most fascinating businesses I've come across and one I hope you'll find of interest as well. So today I'm joined by Jeremy Brassington, Chief Executive Officer of NX3 Technologies. Tell us a bit more about what you do and where you've been doing it from.
Well, let me give you a little bit of background and give you a few facts. Dyslexia is something that affects many people, probably 1 in 10, and then probably another 1 in 10 have difficulties in making notes in classes, in lectures, etc. So you've already got 20% of the population that needs some sort of help at university. Then if you add to that students who have English as a second language, you probably add another 20%, and they suffer the same problems as individuals with dyslexia. And then by the time you add on those who are deaf or hard of hearing, you actually come up to around 50% of the student population need some form of support in class to help them make their notes.
With that background then, where did you start all of this?
We started independently. My co-founder and I started independently. I started in Woking, developing a software platform for students with learning disabilities, which we apply to the Disabled Student Allowance Scheme. And Dan, my co-founder, started in Toronto, helping create summary notes for students with learning disabilities. And it's very interesting, but that journey has taken us on a really deep understanding of what students really need when they're in class taking notes and want to improve the learning outcomes.
And how is this then managed? Surely it must vary hugely from country to country according to their educational standards and structures.
The note-taking process is really very similar. So whatever we do will be universally adaptable for any particular country. So whether it's notes in Spanish or it's notes in French or it's notes in English, it doesn't really matter. So that was the foundation of the business, where we completely understood the cognitive processing issues of students sitting in a class where they had a disability or a problem trying to take notes. And then if you then look at how we are developing the business, what's clear at the moment to us is that institutions are under pressure to cater for all students, not just those with disabilities. So we can pivot and provide a solution for every student rather than just those with disabilities.
And who are the customers here? I can see who the users are, obviously the students, but are they your customers, or is it the educational bodies themselves?
If I can use common parlance today, we have a B2B2C model, which is basically the institutions are our customers, which from a business perspective is ideal because we're dealing with creditworthy, well, hopefully creditworthy post-pandemic institutions. And the student, the consumer, is the end user. So it's a B2B2C model. And we have something like 150 institutions across North America who are using our services, including people like Harvard University, Yale, and a number of other Ivy League universities, together with the top colleges in Canada. And also in the UK, we deal with the government's Disabled Student Allowance Scheme.
That's some great brand names to have there. Do you sign them up on an annual basis, or do you have longer term contracts?
We don't generally have contracts. This is done on a purchase order basis. So whilst we don't have a contract, it's recurring revenue. So we've had a number of these clients for 5 or 6 years. They come back for more business and they generally increase their business year on year.
I presume the pandemic must have had quite a dynamic effect on what's going on, because there are an awful lot of people now trying to do homeschooling, and particularly obviously at universities.
Yeah, absolutely. What we've seen happen is that the plan that we had pre-pandemic to roll this solution out to every student at one of our top colleges in Canada has been accelerated. It's now an imperative rather than a must-have or a like to have, and we're working flat out to implement a complete solution for this particular institution as our first key reference site. And what that will involve will be not just our note-taking, not just closed captioning, which we introduced late last year, but also the software, which we developed in the UK. And then we've developed a specific smart camera, which is installed in every classroom across the campus. That streams the content of the lecture to our note takers and post-pandemic to any student who doesn't happen to be in the classroom at the time. And then we've also, with help from Innovate UK grant funding, developed a web-based portal, which is similar to Zoom and Microsoft Teams, but it's designed specifically for education and it's designed to be accessible. And accessible in these terms is anybody who has a disability doesn't have to go and get triaged and sorted with special software, special hardware. They use the same platform as everybody else.
Tell me a bit more about your team. Who's been involved in this so far?
Yeah, what we have is we have I'd call it a blended team of really exciting young talent with some real grey-haired people like me and the till, of course. So we have my co-founder, Dan. Dan is dyslexic. He spent his early career note-taking and supporting students with disabilities. And he then realized that the service that was being provided was not good enough. So he set up his own company, which was called Note Taking Express. And across the other side of the pond, I had been in assistive listening devices, so helping people who are hard of hearing. So I understand a lot about hearing disabilities. And I started to develop a product for the disabled student allowance market, which works with students who need support. So we started those tracks independently across the pond. And then we brought in a young CTO who I've known for about 5 years, a young chap called Dr. Yunjia Lee, again, ex-Southampton, and he's an absolute genius. He's he can Rubik cube in his sleep, and he provides a lot of the talent, a lot of the development expertise, AI, machine learning, natural language processing, and heads a team of 17 developers, which is split pretty much equally between Canada and the UK.
Now, tell me a bit more about the financials of the business. How long have you been going for to start with?
Well, across the pond in Canada, Dan started his business in 2013, 2014, incorporated it in 2017. And across this side of the pond, we started the note-taking business in 2015 as well.
And you financed this yourself to start with?
Yes, I did. I financed the business over here out of my own funds. And then I met Dan in 2016, thought that putting his summary notes into my software platform would be an ideal solution. Then I funded him to go into the US market to start our US operations. And that has grown from scratch in 2017 to 110 customers in the US. So I funded that. And then again, I put further money in since then.
And so what's the aim? You now want to have some external funding?
Yes, we do. We've managed to get some very supportive business angels, friends of mine who have supported me throughout the years. And what we now need to do is to accelerate what we're doing. So with the existing business, we know that we're going to be at or around break even for the core disability business. What we're now building on top of that is the all classroom platform, which will deliver significant profits towards the back end of the year. And what we want to do is to accelerate that journey. We want to put in place the reference site. We are talking to a number of other potential parties who want the solution. And it would be ideal for us to say, okay, we don't want to wait. We don't need to wait. We can actually execute these sooner rather than later.
There's an ethic to this business coming through very strongly, and you want to see that with the shareholders too.
I want to see that with the shareholders, but I recognize that different stakeholders require different things. And first and foremost, they want to make money. And I think with a demonstrated track record, I can help them make money by investing in the company. I always enjoy talking to investors about how they can help us achieve our goals.
We all make mistakes in our business. Hopefully we just make more successes than mistakes. What's the one mistake you'd really wish you could have avoided?
For me, as an entrepreneur, it's how you handle mistakes rather than if and when you make them, because you're bound to make them. But let me tell you one very quick story. I used to make assistive listening devices for the hard of hearing. My major customer in America was a company called Westone, who bought quite a lot of the product. We came to the end of a line of a particular component that we were sourcing for the product, and my engineers persuaded me that this new component was the bee's knees and would work really well. I sat and tested 25 products one day, and I said, this doesn't work for me. And they persuaded me otherwise. They said, no, 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 no. When you're deaf and hard of hearing, you won't hear that white noise. Don't worry about it. So I said, okay, fine. Sent the product off to the States. Randy, who's the head of the company that I was selling to, picked up the phone one day and said, right, he said, we've got to kick this gerbil under the carpet. I said, what? He said, it is not acceptable. This product is not what you promised me. And I said, I'm really sorry, send them all back, we will rectify. What I learned from that was follow your instinct, don't listen to others, and unless you know the intricate detail of how that product works and why it's not working to spec, then don't accept other people's judgments.
I think, yes, a good learning point, I think, for everybody in business. Well done. Jeremy, tell me a bit more about yourself then. So you've started this, you told us a bit about what you've been developing and things like that. What makes Brassington get up in the morning?
Again, that's a very interesting question. And I've asked myself many times, what does make me get up in the morning? But let me give you a little cameo of me. I was adopted when I was 3 years old. Sorry, I was adopted when I was 6.5 years old. I was orphaned when I was 3. And when I came out of that phase, I really struggled with learning. And I had to have a lot of help from my adoptive parents. And what I managed to do was to do workarounds with my learning. And I somehow got into Oxford and very, very nearly got a first from Oxford. So that taught me that even though you may start from behind the baseline, actually with hard work and resilience, you can get through anything. So having done that, that was fine. Then I found out who my genetic father was and met him aged 98, many, many years later. But he was an entrepreneur until his mid-80s. So part of this is in the genes. And I think the other part is that I really love working. I love working, I love making money, I love making a difference. And I've always said to people, if I'm not making a difference on a company board, for example, or a charity committee that I sit on, I don't want to be involved. And I want you to tell me at the point where you think I've lost it, and I will step back, okay? So I'm highly driven, highly motivated. It's a personal driver within me. It's not about money. It's not about achievement. It's about wanting to do something and make a difference.
Jeremy, that's been fascinating and really a great story you've been telling. I'm sure many of you might want to know more about it, in which case please do get in contact with us and we'll have to provide you with more information. Jeremy, though, can I thank you very much indeed for spending time with us. I think your business sounds fascinating and look forward to working with you more closely over the next few months.
Thank you, Justin.
Thanks a lot. Goodbye, everybody, and look forward to speaking to you again soon. Bye-bye.